In most modern vehicles, the coolant reservoir, also known as the expansion tank, is a pressurized part of the cooling system. As your engine runs, the coolant absorbs intense heat and expands. This tank gives the expanding fluid a place to go while maintaining a highly specific pressure, usually between 14 to 18 psi. This is exactly why a crack is a high priority issue. Maintaining system pressure is the only thing keeping your coolant from boiling. Under 15 psi of pressure, the boiling point of 50-50 coolant raises to roughly 265 degrees Fahrenheit, or 129 degrees Celsius. If your reservoir is cracked, the system cannot hold pressure. The coolant's boiling point immediately drops. The fluid will literally boil inside the engine block, creating air pockets that cannot transfer heat. This leads directly to localized overheating, which can warp aluminum cylinder heads, destroy head gaskets, and completely ruin an engine in a matter of minutes. Safety first. Never remove the reservoir cap when the engine is hot or warm. Pressurized boiling coolant will aggressively erupt from the tank if opened hot, causing instant, severe, third-degree burns to your face, arms, and torso. Wait at least 2 to 3 hours after driving, or until the engine is completely cold to the touch. Second, there is a warning regarding highly toxic fluid. Engine coolant, or antifreeze, is highly toxic to humans and fatal to animals. It has a sweet smell and taste that attracts pets. Clean up all spills immediately and store old coolant in sealed containers. Third, there is a warning to do not mix coolant types. Mixing incompatible coolant chemistries, such as OAT with IAT, will cause a chemical reaction that turns the fluid into a thick, corrosive gel, completely destroying your water pump and clogging your heater core. Moving to the diagnostic, your first task is safely confirming the crack. For a visual inspection, wait until the engine is cold. Look for a white, chalky, crusty residue around the seams of the plastic tank. This is dried coolant. For a pressure test, which is optional but highly recommended, you can rent a cooling system pressure tester from most auto parts stores. Attach it to the cold reservoir and pump it to 15 psi. Listen for a hissing sound, or watch for coolant weeping from the hairline crack. Next is checking for secondary damage, which is the overheating check. If your car overheated prior to you finding this crack, you must check for engine damage. Check the oil dipstick by pulling the engine oil dipstick. If the oil looks like a thick, frothy chocolate milkshake, you have a blown head gasket. The vehicle is undrivable. Check the tailpipe as well. Billowing, sweet-smelling white smoke from the exhaust while the car is running is another sign of internal engine damage. This helps determine if the car is safe to drive. If the crack is actively leaking fluid or hissing steam, do not drive it. Tow the vehicle or repair it where it sits. Driving it even a few miles risks a $5,000 plus engine replacement. If it is a hairline crack above the fluid line with minor weeping, you might be able to limp it a short distance, under 3 miles, to a shop or auto parts store, but keep your eyes glued to the temperature gauge. Repairing requires materials. You will need a new coolant reservoir or expansion tank. OEM is highly recommended for plastic tanks, as cheap aftermarket plastics often warp or crack within a year. You also need vehicle-specific coolant. Check your owner's manual for the exact specification, such as Dexcool, HOT, or Asian phosphated OAT. Buy 1 to 2 gallons of pre-diluted 50-50 coolant. Finally, get 1 gallon of distilled water. Never use tap water. Minerals will corrode the engine internals. For your tools, you will need safety glasses and nitrile gloves, as well as a fluid catch pan to place under the vehicle. A turkey baster or fluid extractor is necessary to safely suck old coolant out of the cracked tank. You will need a metric socket set, as 10 mm and 12 mm deep, and shallow sockets are standard for 95% of modern vehicle reservoir bolts. Hose clamp pliers, or long nose pliers, are crucial for compressing the spring clamps on the coolant hoses. A spill-free coolant funnel kit is highly recommended. This attaches securely to the reservoir neck and makes bleeding the system foolproof. Finally, a flathead screwdriver and pick set are needed to help gently break the seal of old rubber hoses stuck to plastic fittings. Changing a cracked coolant reservoir requires the user to be comfortable doing medial DIY stuff. Otherwise, I highly recommend going to a reputable mechanic to do this pro mode. Here's the steps a mechanic would do to change it. First, always make sure the engine is completely cold before starting. He knows working on a hot engine is dangerous, so he simply holds his hand close to the engine block to feel for any radiating heat. If it feels warm at all, he stops and waits. Once it is completely safe to touch, he places a large plastic drain pan right underneath the area of the fluid tank, the reservoir, to catch any accidental drips. Then, he slowly twists the cap off the tank. He does this carefully to let out any built-up pressure inside, much like opening a shaken bottle of soda, and sets the cap aside. Next, he empties the cracked, old tank. Instead of just pulling it off and making a toxic mess, the mechanic uses a tool that looks like a giant turkey baster or a large clear syringe. He uses it to suck out as much of the brightly colored liquid, the coolant, as he can from the broken plastic tank. He squirts this old liquid into a safe, empty jug that can be sealed tight. Doing it this way keeps the engine area completely clean and prevents slippery chemicals from spilling everywhere. After the tank is mostly empty, he moves on to unplugging the electronics and hoses. First, he checks the bottom or side of the tank for a tiny electrical plug, which is a sensor that tells the car's computer if the fluid is getting low. He carefully pushes a small tab and unclips it so the delicate wires don't snap. Then he grabs a pair of pliers to squeeze the metal rings that clamp the thick rubber hoses to the bottom of the tank. He slides these metal rings down the hose, out of the way. Because old rubber can become stiff and tear easily, he gently twists the hoses back and forth to unstick them from the plastic tubes. Once they pop off, he quickly points the hose ends straight up toward the hood so no leftover liquid dribbles out. Now it is time for him to swap the actual tanks. The mechanic uses a small wrench to unscrew the metal bolts holding the old plastic tank to the car's frame, and he lifts it right out. He then lowers the shiny brand new tank into the exact same spot. To make sure he doesn't accidentally damage the new plastic threads, he twists the bolts in using just his fingers at first. Once they are threaded correctly, he uses his wrench to make them snug, being very careful not to tighten them too much since the tank is only plastic. Once secure, he pushes the rubber hoses firmly onto the new plastic tubes and uses his pliers to slide the metal clips back to where they originally sat, locking the hoses tightly in place. Finally, he snaps the electrical plug back into the new tank until he hears a soft click. The final phase is filling the system up and getting rid of any trapped air, which is a very important step to keep the car from overheating. The mechanic attaches a special tall funnel to the top of the new tank that is designed not to spill. He slowly pours in a jug of fresh, pre-mixed engine fluid until the tank fills up to the max line, intentionally leaving a little extra liquid sitting in the funnel itself. Leaving the funnel in place, he starts the car's engine. He goes inside the car and turns the heater all the way up, but keeps the fan on low. This forces the hot liquid to flow through every single part of the car's heating system. As the car runs for about 15 to 20 minutes, trapped air escapes from the engine, looking like big bubbles burping up through the liquid in the funnel. Once the main engine hose feels very hot to his touch, and the heater inside the car is blowing incredibly hot air, he knows the air is completely gone. He turns off the car, removes his special funnel, double-checks that the fluid is perfectly at the max line, and screws the new cap on tightly. Opting to do this yourself is a good option regarding the labor cost. Using OEM parts, the parts and fluids cost is $60 to $150. The labor cost is $0, making the estimated total cost $60 to $150. The pro of this option is getting the highest quality part and massive savings, while the con is that you must dispose of the toxic fluid yourself. For the DIY approach using aftermarket parts, the parts and fluids cost is $30 to $70. The labor cost is $0, making the estimated total cost $30 to $70. The pro is that it is the cheapest option, but the con is that aftermarket plastics are notorious for failing early. If you go to an independent mechanic, the parts and fluids cost is $80 to $160, and the labor cost is $120 to $200, bringing the estimated total cost to $200 to $360. The pro is receiving professional bleeding of the system, and the con is potential wait times for scheduling. Finally, taking it to a dealership means the parts and fluids cost is $120 to $200, and the labor cost is $180 to $300, creating an estimated total cost of $300 to $500 or more. The pro is guaranteed factory specs and warranty, while the con is paying the highest labor rates in the industry. Note that costs will scale depending on if you are fixing a Honda Civic or a Porsche Cayenne. The figures above reflect a standard domestic or Asian commuter vehicle. For post-repair verification, to ensure your repair is flawless, you must verify the work over the next 24 hours. The first test is the shakedown drive. Take the car for a 10 to 15-minute test drive around your neighborhood, but do not get on the highway yet. Keep the radio off and your eyes locked on the engine temperature gauge. It should rise to the exact middle and stay locked there. The second test is the hot inspection. Park the car, leave it running, and pop the hood. Do not open the cap, but visually inspect the hoses and the bottom of the new tank with a flashlight. Look for drips and listen for hissing. The final test is the morning after check. The most critical check happens the next morning when the engine is ice cold. As the system cooled overnight, it created a vacuum that may have sucked down more coolant to fill remaining microscopic air pockets. Open the hood and check the fluid level. It has likely dropped below the max line. Top it off to the max line with cold coolant. By executing these steps with patience and respect for the pressurized system, you will save hundreds of dollars and keep your engine safely running for years to come. Take your time, wear your safety glasses, and you will ace this repair.